Here we go! Milestone episode 50 of Will These Comics Make Good Film and Television Shows? We got Marvel, we got DC, and we got Boom! Let's check it out right now. Alright, welcome back. I can't believe we're on 50 episodes already. It felt like only yesterday I started this thing. So let's get right into it. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great January and making sure that they write 2025 and all their checks. If few people are writing checks anymore, I don't know. So I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, comic book writer, and general troublemaker. And a line producer. I just got a script in today, so I'm hoping that I can get back on set, later this month. That would be awesome. Been a long time since the strikes. Let me just tell you that. I think everybody's itching to get back to work. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to talk about comics, and if we're ever going to see this kind of stuff on the screen. So we're going to start with DC. We're going to start with Kneel Before Zod, during the 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman, we got to see Terrence Stamp as Zod, along with Ursa and Nan. I was a big fan of those characters. I was a big fan of that movie in general. I thought they did a really great job with it. And then we got to see, a remake of Zod in Man of Steel that I was not that fond of that movie, as you guys probably know, and I don't think they got Superman right at all. And Zod was okay, but he didn't have the gravitas that Terrence Stamp had. I love the actor, but he just didn't embody Zod. He didn't have that, that whole. I don't know what that laissez-faire kind of attitude, that Terrence Stamp just nailed that thing. Ursa was hot in there. I thought they did a good job at that. And Nan actually came to my I forgot his name. Came to my convention when I had a convention. So I got some really fond memories of all that. And Margot Kidder even came to my convention. That was one of the last conventions she ever did. Yeah, really nice lady. Thank God she was able to sign some stuff for me. So I was able to actually, have some reminiscence of the movie that I wouldn't normally have had. So anyway, now they decided to do this. I forgot the guy's name, John Casey. Joe Casey is writing this comic of Kneel Before Zod. It's a 12-issue. I'm not sure why they would do a 12-issue series when they don't know if it's even going to work. Why don't they leave it at 6? So anyway, because I think people would say, okay, it's only 6 issues, I'll do it. 12 issues is like Batman. That's like a Batman little run, not a Zod. So it's very tough to have a villain become an anti-hero. He's never going to be a hero. He's always going to be an anti-hero. Because we already know he's a villain. And so it's tough, and I think that was my problem with the last Hunger Games movie, The Ballad of Snakes, Ravens and Snakes there, or whatever it was, Songbirds and Snakes, because I already know that Snow is evil. So you're trying to make him into an anti-hero, and it just doesn't work, man. It just doesn't work. 9 times out of 10. I do have, I can point to the New 52 when they did Black Adam, because he was married to ISIS. He was literally trying to change his ways, and he was trying to have a family, and it just didn't work out for him. But he did become an anti-hero in the New 52, and that really worked. Where the Black Adam movie did not. He was never really an anti-hero in that movie. I don't know what he really was. He wasn't really a villain. He wasn't really a hero. I don't really know what he was in that movie, and I think that's one of the reasons why it didn't really work. So they tried to make him an anti-hero, and plus he was being a villain at the same time. You really can't do that, man. You can't make him a villain and an anti-hero at the same time and have it try to make it work. It doesn't. So anyway, we have Zod in here without Superman, which again, that just doesn't work. And we have him trying to create a new Kandor. Now, Kandor, if you're not familiar with Superman mythology, Kandor is a bottled miniature city by Brainiac. Brainiac miniaturized one of the cities of Krypton before it was destroyed, and he kept it in a bottle. So it's kind of like a snow globe. Just a bigger snow globe. And Superman had it in the Fortress of Solitude. He just didn't know how to enlarge it without hurting anyone. And so he kept it, but he could shrink himself, which made no sense. So he could shrink himself and go in there and talk to everybody, but he could never enlarge it. Or if he could enlarge it, he just never did. So he kept them as pets, which is really kind of odd. But anyway, for some reason, Zod now has the bottled city. And I'm just not buying that. I am not buying that. Why would Superman allow Zod to have it? So let's say Zod snuck in and stole it, right? Superman would go going nuts right now. I mean, people go nuts trying to look for their phone. Imagine losing the entire city. Now, where did I put that city? I know. Honey, check the seat cushions. No way. There is no possible way that he would let Zod or anyone or even be missing for any amount of time. He would scour the world, numerous worlds, if need be, to find it. And he's got to know that Zod's got it. So I can't. So I'm already walking into the story not believing it. And when that happens, you can't buy into it. So anyway, we have, him showing, he has this conversation with Jor-El, but Jor-El is just his imagination. And if you can see the art is really not very good. So there's not a whole lot of detail to it. The faces are very blocky. It almost looks like Ursa's face right there. It looks like something out of the animated series. So at this point, I'm not buying into it. I'm not really liking the artwork. Then we see the sun, and I don't know what's going on with the sun's hair. The design work is awful. But anyway, he has a conversation with his son. I guess that he has his own little Death Star type of weapon, Zod, and the son wants him to use it, and he's like, nah, I got my own plans, man. You're a little fucking piece of shit. What are you doing telling your dad what to do? And he literally, fights his dad, and, Zod teaches him a lesson by smacking the shit out of him, and rightly so. So right now, you're not an anti-hero now thing, because now you have literally a super fight with your son. So you can't be an anti-hero now or anything else. You've already put him into villain status. And he burns his chest, he puts an S on it, and he's like, yeah, okay, good for you, man. Now I got to treat you like an adult. And he sees Superman charging at him instead of his own son. So we're already establishing that he's having apparitions show up, that he talks to Jor-El. He sees Superman and his son. And, so the guy's crazy on top of everything else. And, he tells his son that he's banishing him. He's like, where am I going to go? He's like, I don't give a shit, just get off property. So, and property being planet. So, now we have him not being a father in the least. And then I feel like there's a whole scene missing here, because his mother shows up, and we don't ever see the conversation with her and Zod saying that they're going to banish him, or anything like that. She's just like, bye. What? And plus she's pregnant. So we already know she's a bad mother, and now she's going to be a bad mother of 2. They already... And then we have 1 month later, and I guess Zod, or whatever the guy's name is, the kid's name, I guess told aliens that the Kandor was for the picking, and so they attack it. So we get to see this little battle scene of Zod just whooping ass to the point where he ground pounds, and they literally fall to pieces. I don't know how that's like an earthquake ripping people apart. I don't think that would happen. So it's almost like the Black Adam thing where he's got just bodies everywhere. So anyway, plus there's the United Planets and all this other stuff, and they're looking at him, and then I guess he kept one of them alive, and he's going to go and do some interrogation work. So, would it make a good film or television show? No, it just doesn't work, man. It's not going to work. It's he's already a villain, and people are already bashing the book in general. I think sales are going to plummet. If it had any sales to begin with, sales are going to plummet because it just doesn't work. I don't know why they decided to go down this route. The character is not that popular, and without changing him completely, there's no rooting for the guy or anything like that. There's no rooting for Ursa. There's nothing there. I might get the next issue just to see where they go with it, but I don't think I'm going to be getting 12. All right, so let's go into Vengeance of Moon Knight. So this is no longer a Moon Knight book, even though the run with Jed MacKay ended, and now the same, and Capuccio's back doing art. So it's the same creative team that just ended Moon Knight with Moon Knight's death. And now we have Vengeance of Moon Knight #1. So he died with the whole battle with Black Spectre, and the Midnight Mansion or Mission is now run by the vampire named Reese. So we have Tigra that had a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with Mark Spector, which is Moon Knight. And then we had his brother-in-arms, Hunter's Moon, who was also a Fist of Khonshu. So it starts with her at the psychiatrist's office, and she's a vampire. So we have a vampire in a psychiatrist's office. That sounds like a beginning of a joke right there. There was a vampire in a psychological office there, and they said, "Hey, sit on my couch." And he's like, "Can I just have a bite of your neck?" So then we get into some weird stuff, because Ben Grimm shows up to, I guess, create Shiva for them, which is a Jewish rite for, I guess, funerals. But even if Mark Spector was Jewish, it doesn't make any sense, because he literally worked for a god. He worked for an Egyptian god. So why would we be doing Jewish rites for... It doesn't make any sense. If anything, we'd be doing Egyptian rites. Because I'm sure that if he's dead, he went to some Egyptian heaven, right? I don't know how that would work. I think bringing religion into this was a bad idea, because it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, we have this whole thing with Shiva going on, and the superheroes show up to honor his death, but they show up all in costume. Why? Why? I guess so the audience can see who everybody is. But there was other ways to do it. I mean, literally, Hawkeye has his arrows on his back. Doesn't make any sense, man. So anyway, the heroes picked up the slack, And now we have the new group here of the Midnight Mission. And so I guess Tigra's in this now full time, which I'm kind of happy about. And, then out of the blue, we get these demon characters show up. And I'm going to bring the religion thing up again here in a second. So we have these demon characters show up. We get this little fight scene. Nobody can hurt them. And they're literally shooting them point blank and nothing's happening. And, I mean, they look kind of cool. They look like, Dr. Jekyll kind of things. Maybe something out of Buffy. And then we have, what's his name? I just said his name. But anyway, he shows up, the other Fist of Khonshu, Hunter's Moon, thank you. And here, they say, oh no, it's going to be an exorcism. And he takes out like the Ankh as if it's a cross or some kind of religious, medallion. And he banishes them through an exorcism using that as a religious thing. So that right there shows you that the Khonshu thing is religious. So again, it destroys the whole Shiva thing in the beginning. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, we have Tigra now on a mission to find out what happened to Black Spectre and stuff like that, because she wants revenge. And we get this really cool shot of her, which we barely ever see, of her literally releasing her like feral rage thing going on. I really, really like that. And and then Reese tries to stop her and say, this is not what Mark would want, blah, blah, blah. And she's literally head to head saying, get out of my way. I thought all this was pretty good. So up to now, I was just mediocre, but I don't know why Tigra doesn't have her own book. I really don't. So anyway, I guess 8-Ball gets into a little trouble here. I'm not sure where they're going with this, but he's getting hit by crescent darts, which is Moon Knight's weapon. And he really gets kind of messed up here. And when they go to investigate it, there's a new Moon Knight that pops up, but they're saying he's the same one, but I don't think that could possibly be the case. So I don't know. So that's where the mystery is. Who is this new Moon Knight? So as far as, first of all, I was not a fan of the Moon Knight TV show on Disney+. I thought there was a million things you could have done with it, and they made it very boring, and they made him impervious to like everything. I mean, he literally had like 5 different spears chucked through him. I did like the girlfriend's costume. She didn't really exist in the comics, so I kind of like that character. These characters are cool too. I do like the Hunter's Moon character, which originally was brought in as a villain. But that's what you could do, is you could create a villain, and then they team up, and then they become friends from that point on. That kind of works. And the whole Black Spectre and him dying, and him doing almost like the Bane stuff, where he's releasing all of Moon Knight's old villains and having them all attack him at once. That was all good stuff. And now we get a mystery of who the new Moon Knight is. Yeah, it's all good. The whole Shiva thing didn't work for me at all, as you know. And the whole psychiatrist thing didn't work for me. So I'd say about 70% of this book did not work for me. But the other 30% did. So I'm just gonna assume that it starts at the end and see where it goes for the next issue. Because we have a number 1, you shouldn't be using throwaway stuff in here. We should be, I definitely see that we should have been doing some, mourning type of stuff, but having Tigra go out and be on a vengeance mission, that's much better stuff than 8 pages of sitting Shiva. So, just saying. So, yes, for the whole storyline that's going on. I like it. All right, so let's go on to the boom one, which is Pine and Merrimac. So I had no idea what to expect here, but since Marvel and DC don't have a whole lot of good books right now, I'm delving more into independence. And I'm not sure if this was a Netflix pitch, kind of like Blood Commandment. It definitely can be, because it can be done on a lower budget scale. So it's about a female private investigator whose husband works with her as her muscle because he's a former boxer / MMA fighter. So they have this relationship going on where she's the brains and he's the brawn. And that really works for this. You know, she's the one that asks all the questions, and, you know, they're like, "Girlie, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, if you don't want to talk to me, you can talk to the guy behind me," you know, that kind of thing. So I guess her sister, so here's the thing with this. The pacing is very good. Usually, like a Netflix pitch kind of storyline, the economics of the panels aren't good because they want to stick every piece of their script and just translate it. And comics doesn't work that way. You have to eliminate stuff to make it flow better. If you start just trying to make storyboards, it doesn't work, because then the book gets boring. This doesn't. It sets the characters up very quickly. You get a very good taste of what they're about. We get backstory about how her sister was abducted, and then they found her body, and then since all their cases are about cheating wives and husbands, we have a disgruntled wife who was cut out of, since she was cheating. She had no alimony, no nothing. She got, taken out, so now she's penniless, and she's throwing shit against their windows and, stuff like that, telling them they're going to pay. And then you have another couple come in that says their daughter's missing, and she normally doesn't take missing persons cases because they normally wind up dead, and she can't take that kind of disappointment, I guess, because it reverts her back to her missing sister, and she decides to take this one because it reminds her of her sister. I am not a big fan of this artwork. Again, it's very kind of cartoony for a very adult story. So that's the only thing. And I have to look this up. I don't know if there really is a Jamesport, but it's somewhere up north. I think they're talking about like it's Maine or something like that. Like, look at that artwork. Plus, he reused the same face. He just blew it up from one panel to the other. I hate that. It's lazy. And her name is Linna. Linnea. I don't know how to even say that. So yeah, it takes them back to she basically says, "Oh, this is my wedding. This is," and you would think that Pine and Merrimac would be their names, but it's not. It's the street, the corner of where their offices are. So if they ever have to move offices, they're screwed. They have to change the name of their business. So I hope they don't raise the rent. So anyway, this guy comes in and wants to hire them, but to catch his wife cheating, but then she immediately realizes that he's cheating as well. And the husband draws. This is how much brains he's got. Come on, give the guy a little bit of credit, man. He draws her a eagle carrying a hot dog. So he's like got the brains of a child. I don't know. I don't like that. And look at the face on the woman that threw the shit on the window. That's actually pretty bad. So again, it's the story. It's the fact that the story's good is what keeps us moving, despite the fact that the artwork is not great. Hopefully, maybe it'll get better as time goes on. We got this nice little fight scene in the bar where she basically says, "Hey, you want to take me on?" Well, it won't be me. It'll be the guy behind me. So I thought that all really worked. The book in general is very good. And then we get to see the person now that she's going to find is locked up. And she's calling for help. And the guy says, quiet down or I'll come down there. But she already realizes she might be on an island that's right off the coast of their state. And they're going to be doing that next issue. So, yeah. Really good stuff here. Really good stuff by Kyle Starks. Never heard of the guy. But pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So this is only issue 1. But issue 1 already drew me in, which many issues do not, like the Zod one. And Vengeance of the Moon, I really can't call number 1 because it's just a continuation of the previous one. So let's recap real quick. Pine and Merrimac. That would be a yes. That's pretty awesome so far. I am heavily looking forward to the next book. I would say yes with the general storyline. Let's see how now this mystery unfolds. And then Zod, no, doesn't work. I'll see if issue 2 gets any better, but if not, I'll just drop it. I probably will not go for a whole 12 issues. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. Also, check out some of my other videos that'll pop up at the end of this one. Remember that I'll be doing Lords of LA Late Pledge at the end of the month. And then on top of that, Mark Spears and I are working really hard on getting the card game going. We did another playthrough, which I got some really good notes. I got the new, graphic designs for the cards. So I'm now spending hours and hours, moving everything over to the new design. And then, tweaking the wording and things to that effect. So it's a lot of work. But Becca Scott, amongst others, have already agreed to review it. So, yeah, pretty exciting stuff. All right, so if you guys are into card games, this might be good for you. All right, thanks a lot, guys, again. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in episode 51 coming up this week. All right, bye-bye.